what I see happening here is the Democratic Party basically doing the same exact thing that they did after the 2016 election, hoping for a repeat. And what do I mean by that? The Democratic Party, instead of doing the easy layup, basketball terms, the easy layup would be $2,000 checks, pass $15 minimum wage as part of COVID relief, expand health care, do some type of government jobs program as part of COVID relief. Done, done, and done. You would wipe out in the midterms. It doesn't even matter if Trump would run again. You'd probably win re-election, whether it's Biden, Harris, or whatever neoliberal Neanderthal runs for president. Instead of doing all that and meeting the moment of the desperate economic need, the Democratic Party and their desperate, when I say desperate, I mean desperate, allies in the corporate media are trying to squeeze whatever remaining juice out of the orange that is Trump. When you watch CNN now, when you watch MSNBC now, by the way, if you didn't notice, CNN's ratings nosedived in the first week Trump was gone. His tweets, he can't tweet now, so people aren't interested. Ratings across the board were down. MSNBC, Fox, same story. They're up again now because of the reality impeachment hearing, reality TV. Trump's back in the news. But after he is acquitted, and he's going to be acquitted because the Republican Party are a bunch of, spineless little poops. Little shits, excuse my French. He's going to be acquitted. What are they going to do then? They can't actually, they're not interested in doing actual news. They're not interested in per se going to Flint, Michigan to tell you that the water is still poison or try to hold the people accountable for who poisoned that community. They're not interested in going around covering pipeline fights happening in Minnesota and other states, even during a pandemic. They're not interested in going to Seattle and other places to show you the economic terrorism going on right now, thanks to Jeff Bezos and Amazon. They're not interested in going down to Alabama to cover the unionization fight Amazon workers in Alabama are waging, and Amazon's Pinkerton-like fear campaign, intimidation campaign to get their workers not to vote to unionize in Alabama. They're not interested in covering progressive campaigns for state houses or elsewhere. They're not interested in real news. So there's plenty of stories to cover. They are not interested in covering it. But what I see happening, and you could say, well, Jordan, what do you mean they're redoing what they did after the 2016 campaign? After the 2016 campaign, instead of doing some soul searching and actually moving to the left, after Hillary Clinton, the most experienced, the most well fundraised candidate ever at that point, they basically, instead of looking at why did Trump win, they created a new Cold War in Russia. And you could say, well, Jordan, it kind of worked, didn't it? They retook the House in 2018. They won the presidency in 2020. So isn't changing the subject, isn't not addressing people's economic needs, isn't being rhetorically progressive, but in reality conservative, didn't it work for them? Well, yeah, it worked for them because Trump was president in the midterms of 28. He essentially destroyed his chances and the party's chances because of his horrible rhetoric, particularly with women. And then it worked again, barely, in the presidential election. Biden didn't win by a lot. Remember, we were getting predictions. He's going to win by 330 electoral votes. He's going to get to 330. He's going to get to 350, maybe 400 in the Electoral College. He got to 307. And he only won Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Georgia, not by a landslide. We're talking 1 or 2 percentage points. And he needed a deadly pandemic that Trump badly effed up to win. So Biden and the Democrats, they're not going to have Trump as the boogeyman in 2022. In 2024, they're also not going to have Trump as the boogeyman. And that's the key. They're trying to continue to run against Trump. They think it was a fluke in 2016. They think they would have won just running against Trump if they had a better candidate than Hillary Clinton. They said, we ran against Trump in 2018 and we won the midterms. We ran against Trump. We got to get rid of him, restore the soul of the nation in 2020, and we won. And they think doing that over again is going to win them, keep their margins in 2022, maybe grow their majority in the House, grow their majority in the Senate, and then they think, rinse, repeat, play that same old record, they'll keep the White House in 2024. When you already have, CNBC did this piece, sure, you could say it's anecdotal, but they spoke with X amount of people who are pissed off, Democrats. They already moonwalked. Biden already moonwalked. $2,000 check goes to $1,400 check. Oh, wait. Now we're going to, we got to target it. We got to means test it. Do we target and means test how much money we piss away for Iraq, Afghanistan, aid to Israel, aid to other countries? We don't means test any of that. Subsidies to banks, subsidies to the fossil fuckers, subsidies to big pharma, big real estate, Silicon Valley, the defense industry. We don't means test any of that. Only checks to the working class, to the desperate masses do we have to means test. Biden is kind of waffled. Technically, at the moment, they're keeping it at $75,000. Anyone making $75,000 or under will get that $1,400 check. Couple making $150,000 will get it. To me, that's not the fight we should be waging. There should have been a coordinated effort that not only are we getting an actual $2,000 check, but we're getting that every single month. Every single month until you're at 90 to 95% vaccination. That's it. Secondly, there is nothing in Joe Biden's, the media frames it as this sprawling, massive $1.9 trillion economic stimulus. Well, it's sprawling because it's a lot bigger than the Obamas in 2008. But let me ask you a question. When you have 45% of the jobs, 45% of the jobs are not back that were lost from coronavirus. That's nearly half of the jobs that were lost, not back. When they're doing, I think, $400 unemployment, again, you're lucky if you get the unemployment. We've seen what a bureaucratic nightmare that is, trying to get that unemployment. $400 a week. Okay. A $1,400 check, $400 a week, not a thing to actually forgive or cancel the rent. If you are on that boat and you haven't been able to pay your rent or your mortgage, when the moratorium is up, maybe they'll extend it past March 31st. Let's say they extend it to July. Okay. This is just musical chairs. Eventually, you're going to be left with a bill, if you're lucky, $5,000. If you're not lucky, $20,000 or more. There's nothing in there for that. What is a $1,400 check? And I don't want to hear it from people, well, Jordan, it's better than nothing. What are you going to do with a $1,400 check, $400 unemployment when the music stops and you're kicked out of your apartment or you're kicked out of your home? What are you going to do? A $1,400 check, they call it a survival check. I don't know about you, but if you have medical bills stacking up because of your deductible, I've had to pay $3,000 so far just this year to get an endoscopy for my stomach, to get a CAT scan for my abdomen, and now $900 I spent last night for a breathing test. That's with insurance, just the deductible for the year. What about your car payments? What about your medicine? What about your student loans? What about fill in the blank, groceries? A $1,400 survival check? And I don't even understand why people write it like survival. Who's surviving off of $1,400? Who's surviving off of $400 a week? You could, devil's advocate, Jordan, you could say it's $400 a week plus whatever crumbs you get from your state unemployment. Okay, let's say the $400 a week plus, I don't know, $250, $300 a week. Maybe, what does that bring you to, $700? You surviving off of $700 a week, times that by 4 with, if you don't have a job anymore, or your hours have been cut, or you're late with rent. If you were living in France, if you were living in Australia, if you were living in Canada, and for a year pandemic that is not over, we got 2 more contagious, more deadly variants going around, you were told that you were going to get $3,200 for a year, plus your unemployment, with no eviction protection. When I say eviction protection, I mean when the music stops, you're not getting kicked out of your home. There's zero protection for that. Biden's COVID bill gives you that neoliberal fairy dust of jobs retraining. They started with this in the Clintons. That was the big billboard plan for the Democrats. We got a vibrant job retraining program. Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statuscoup.com where you can sign up for our email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statuscoup.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you.